But every now and then I do check out the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace. Yes, you can buy all the greatest add-ons for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's not that bad. I mean, we have the ratings here. Those are always a pretty reliable source of finding out, okay, is a product worth the price? 4.6 out of 5 stars. That's really good. Stuff like that. Sometimes the ratings help you avoiding bad products. 3 out of 5 stars. That's something I probably wouldn't buy. Really good. But sometimes you really get those products that are so poorly rated that you're scared of them. For example, today I found the 7879 by the developers of Forsimers for $12.99, and it's got a rating of 2.0 stars. 2.0. That is incredibly bad. The rating details are even worse. 69% of raters have given this one a 1-star review. 1. But it's like when you give a product like the worst rating ever, that's gotta mean that, you know, either your product is really not bad or not working at all. Like, that's the worst possibility. And like $12.99 for a big add-on and highly anticipated airplane like the 7879 is so bad that I gotta check this out. Everybody, let's buy it. Let's buy for $12.99 a plane that's sold with 1-star review. How bad can it be? Probably, I mean, Captain Sim's scamming planes, as I've always said, have gotta sometimes even double the review rates. Like that. That's gotta mean something. So is this plane gonna be worse than Captain Sim? I've already bought it here. 7879, and here you can see we've got an extensive amount of liveries, which already, that's not too bad off the bat. Let's spawn into an Air New Zealand. We go to Wellington Airport. Let's spawn into our worst plane for the flight simulator. And so everybody, here we are at the windiest airport in the world and the worst plane in the world, the 7879. And right off the bat, it doesn't seem bad at all. I mean, obviously, we already have the 787 for the flight simulator, the 787-10, which is obviously a longer version, a bit bigger. You can see that here from the outside. This plane is a bit shorter, but overall relatively nicely designed. That's pretty all right. Let's maybe spawn into the cockpit. There we go. And yes, this looks like a 787 indeed. But it also looks very much like the 787-10. If you hadn't told me this was a 787-9, I wouldn't notice. And that's kind of what it is for real life. I mean, you know, the whole 787 family obviously shares the same interior. But what is very interesting is that all these switches don't work. You know, CCR reset, flight control surface modes, EEC modes, all these switches don't work that are also not working in the 787-10 from Asobo, the one that you get from Microsoft for free. And so this is kind of what this plane is. It's basically the 787-10 interior. People would call the 787-9 add-on right here basically just a skin for the 787, which just kind of shortens it. Let's do a little bit of an ident check here. Okay, at least the plane does know itself that it's a 787-9 and not a 10. We shall perhaps take off already. We are again at Wellington Airport, not the longest of runways. And so we got closer to what the developers did, and that is only the exterior model, quite obviously. And there we go, it looks pretty nice. You can see the landing gear. That's always a good sign to tell because there's so much detail that's here. Check out these cables, check out how that landing gear moves. And also, of course, since the 787 has slightly tilted landing gear, it does have that here too. You can see it's still spinning, obviously, and it stopped spinning after a while. That's actually relatively good, and so we've taken off our 787-9. And you can see that it sounds exactly like the 787-10, because it is the 787-10. Good stuff, and we can take off. We can turn on the autopilot. Oh! It looks exactly like the 787-10 because they just took that. Relatively good. I mean, we gotta say the 787-10 is a pretty well done plane by Asobo, by Microsoft. Not too bad at all. And so it works, that's for sure. So I can already kind of smell, well, why do people rate this plane 1 star? The problem is that in order for the 789 to work, obviously you need the 7810 installed as well, which is not the norm. Because the 787-10 is obviously only part of the premium package of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Right, most people only have the standard, which doesn't include the 787-10. And this has caused a wave of hate. Accidentally bought this Forsimers 787. Some dependencies are missing. Yeah, 787 Dreamliner not owned. Yeah. Despite there being a disclaimer, this aircraft requires you to have the 787-10, which is available only in the Premium Deluxe version of the game. People will still buy it and then are disappointed that they didn't read the disclaimers, and now they're stuck with the 787-9 that is not working because they don't have the expensive version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know how people are that dumb to overlook it, but honestly, I would probably have made the same mistake. It isn't very easy to return an item on the marketplace, so those people who are cheap anyway and opted to buy only the standard version now have lost €12.99, which with they could have bought, maybe a McDonald's menu. So that's why there's 1 stars. And that's why we also have like the demographics. Either people rate 1 star or 5 star. Because if you do have the 787-10, the 789 really isn't bad. All right, I mean, we can take a look. The outside model, once again, really isn't bad. We can go in the inside, perhaps check out the interior of the airplane. All right, never mind. We can't do that. We can't just walk into the interior. That's a shame. Yeah. I mean, after all, we only paid $12 for this airplane, which isn't much. And you can't really expect like PMDG quality. I mean, their planes sell for 6 times as much. It's understandable. We don't have crazy features. It is incredibly expensive, obviously, to develop a software like this. Although people do criticize that there's really nothing that tells apart the 787-9 to the 787-10. They haven't really done any changes other than maybe the outside of the airplane, which really is still disappointing. People are like, this could have been like a freeware little project. Yeah, obviously no hero's work was done with this airplane. And I agree with that. Let's maybe come in for a bit of a landing now. All right, there we go. All right, once again, we're at the windiest airport. Wellington will be that easy to butter. Oh, that dropped down like a stone. All right, that's interesting. Yes, people have pointed out that maybe the aerodynamics were a bit strange. Let me see if we can butter with the 787-10 here from Asobo, the original one. All right, that plane stalled out 130 knots and the graph flaps degrees 30. That wasn't exceptionally bad. Maybe it's just me who's bad at landing too. Yeah. All right, so everybody, there it is. The beautiful new 787-9 looks good. Just kidding, obviously, it's still the 10. There you go, I can see it. Of course, this is the one. That doesn't look bad at all. I mean, you know, this plane is a great example of why you should always read the disclaimers. By the way, it feels like there's actually no cabin that's actually even been done, right? It's relatively empty inside. It's a bit strange. To whom would I recommend the 787-9 for $12? Maybe, I mean, I wouldn't have bought it myself. I'm not the biggest fan of the 787. The only case I see anyone else buy this plane, the 789, is when they, for example, want to fly for an airline that exclusively only has the shorter 9er version. For those who are okay with sticking to the 10, you can spend $12 somewhere else. I guess that's how I'm going to put it, especially because the 710 isn't much different at all. So really, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, good night. Now, thank you very much to my highly supporting members like Jamie Ashton, Mike C, James Duram, Ragings, Met RLG, Matt Fan Z, Moritz, Bellhausen, Knots Enthusiast, Shadow, New York, Ryland Williams, Kelly Chaos, John O'Brien, and I'm addicted to Airbus A380s. Thank you.